Hello and welcome to the A&P. I am Alex Johansson and my co-host Patrick McCallum. Patrick,
Hello, everyone. How are you getting on?
we're having logical discussions about the state of the world. Let's get into it, brother.
Hello, Patrick. How you doing, bud?
Not too bad at all, buddy. How are things?
Well, going good. You sent me some articles that we're going to be going over, so I figured I'd do a little bit of reading. You could do a little responding and see what the hell's going on. You seem to have some issues.
More news out of these IPA International Protection Service centers.
The IPAS, huh?
Another headline, another week, as they say, another headline. But there's been a couple of headlines since we last spoke about these. I've sent you on a few articles there for the more recent ones. This is the most serious one well, the other one is just as serious as well. It's unbelievable. Unregulated males, the usual.
Yes.
Our government doesn't have a clue what they're doing.
Absolutely. So this one is, let me go ahead and scroll down a bit for the author. Paul Reynolds, he's a crime correspondent.
RT News, yeah.
RT, got it. So, man charged in connection with an assault of a 10-year-old girl of the most inappropriate of natures.
Yes.
So, we will make sure the language is good, but we can get to the meat of the problem. So, we're going to start reading Mr. Paul Reynolds. A 26-year-old man has appeared in court charged in connection with the sexual assault of a 10-year-old girl in Dublin in the early hours yesterday morning.
Yeah, the girl was in care of TUSLA, which are our child protection service here in Ireland.
Okay.
And TUSLA has been in the headlines in recent months and years, really, because they're an absolute basket case, is the best word I could describe them as.
So they're not in the news in a good way. Not in the news in a good way.
No, never in the news in a good way. And the other article that we're going to be covering as well in this segment will show you how much of a basket case they are. Even a recent report came out as well, which we will also be covering. But This is a failure of the state as well, not just TUSLA, but other state organizations as well, as you read on with this article.
Got it. And as Patrick said, the girl was in the care of TUSLA. He reported that she had been assaulted, and Gardaí commenced a criminal investigation. Well, as you would, right?
Yes.
The man was charged yesterday morning for questioning and charged in the early hours of the morning, about 4 a.m. from what I could get information-wise. All right, so he was brought before Blanchardstown District Court this morning, where Detective Sergeant Sinead Connolly from Clondalkin Garda Station gave evidence of arrest, charge, and caution. That is an interesting terminology. So here it is, you'll get arrested and then charged, but what's the caution? What is caution in this instance?
It'd be like your Miranda rights over the United States.
Oh, got it. Okay. So
it'd be pretty much, it's the same as your Miranda rights. When you get arrested, you read your rights.
Right, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say will be used against you in a court of law,
Yeah, we will roughly have the same here as well. So they'd be cautioned for their rights, then they'd be formally charged and arrested. That's normally the way the Gardaí normally operate.
Got it. All right. She told the court the accused, who cannot be named. Why can't they be named?
A lot of people are saying that, but it's down to criminal law. Because if you name the perpetrator, you could also accidentally might name the victim. So when it comes to anyone under the age of 18, that's been a victim of this type of crime. So the perpetrator is not named.
It's a victim protection.
Yes.
Widget, I guess.
Victim.
Got it.
By the way, I know in this case, are not victim and perpetrator are not related, but that's just a blanket protection across all these type of cases.
Right. That makes sense. He was charged. All right. She told the court the accused, who cannot be named, was arrested at 3:58 a.m. in Clondalkin Station, the Garda Station, and when charged, he replied, "I have nothing to say." He is accused of sexually assaulting the girl yesterday at Garter Lane, Staggart in County Dublin, contrary to Section 2 of the Criminal Law Grape Amendment Act 1990, as amended by Section 37 of the Offenders Act of 2001.
Yeah, that's just the normal statute that he'd be charged under.
Okay, well, it makes sense.
Yeah, that's a criminal statute, yeah.
Yeah, there is no application for bail, but the court was told there will be a bail application in Clover Hill District court tomorrow.
Yes. He'll be denied bail. They normally are denied bail, these type of cases.
Right.
It's
But
just that they have to go through the motions of following procedure, but the judge will just bail is denied in the next court sitting and you'll be remanded for trial and going forward. That's normally the way these cases.
Right. The state provided him a solicitor, right?
Yes. It'd be free legal aid, as we call it over here.
Oh, and next line. The accused was granted free legal aid after the court heard he was not working and a statement of means would be handed in. And a statement of means is how it is that you earn money or your profession, things like that. Okay.
Basically, he's an international protection service, so his means would be basically half the normal social welfare, but all his other expenses are paid. But his means would be way below. There'd be literally nothing, to be honest.
Right. He'd be unable to afford a barrister at all, functionally.
Yes. Obviously. As you can see, they're just going through all the proper steps to make sure that this case goes all the way through.
Right. Crossing the I's, dotting the J's, all those things. Okay.
Yeah.
The accused was granted free legal aid after the court heard he was not working and a statement of means would be handed in. His defense solicitor asked that he be produced in person in court and that an Arabic interpreter be provided.
Yes.
Right. So that doesn't sound, that sounds like an iPass issue. That does sound like an asylee or someone who's attempting to.
Oh yeah, he was in an iPass center. He actually did the act in an iPass center.
Oh. How did the victim get to that space?
That's the question, because she was in the care of TUSLA.
Mm-hmm.
And they were on a field trip as such, just judging by the different news articles.
Okay.
And somehow she managed to get separated from the group.
Okay.
Somehow. And managed to end up in this center with this individual.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes.
So that means that TUSLA was inappropriately managing their charges?
Yes. That's not the first time this has happened with TUSLA.
Right. Now, understand that's just conjecture on our part. We don't actually have any facts of the case, but a logical extrapolation would lead us to believe that that would be the case. I don't want to cast shade on any entity that I don't know absolutely, but it would appear that if this individual ended up in a space that was as unsafe as that, it was.
Yes.
Yeah. So somebody was moving around in a space they shouldn't have been in. All right. So Gardaí and Clondalkin have issued an appeal for witnesses or anyone with information to come forward.
Yeah, that's the usual, the standard of what every police service around the world does.
Right. And for everyone's edification, the time frame would be, they said they would like to speak with anyone who is in the City West Drive, Garter Lane, City West Lewis Stop, or Saggart Lewis Stop area between 11 p.m. on Sunday and 1:30 a.m. on Monday.
Now, remember before when we went over different iPass centres in Ireland?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the largest ones is in City West.
Okay. And that's a portion of Dublin?
Yeah, there's a massive former hotel in Dublin that's been transformed to a big iPass centre.
Not to be confused with Ballymun. Got it.
No. But it's not the first time the headlines are coming out of that iPass centre.
Mm-hmm.
Time and time again, every couple of weeks and months, there's always headlines. And this is probably the more serious of headlines that's coming up. But there's other centres dotted around Dublin as well.
Well, it seems like it's an epicenter for absolutely inappropriate things to occur.
Well, when you put a couple of hundred unvetted males in a space right in the centre of a built-up area, these things are going to happen.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's the case. That's just the way that is.
Going to be the case. You're just going to have more and more of these unfortunate headlines as time goes on because our government doesn't seem to. And by the way, this guy had got a deportation order in March.
Why was he still in Ireland?
It was a self-deportation order.
Oh, he has no means to do it, but we just asked him very nicely to go, and he said, "Why, sure, I'll do that."
Yes. Yeah. Now
I'll leave.
Yeah, it's October now. He got that in March.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I got you, Judge. I'm gonna do the thing.
And by the way, it wasn't it's not hard for our immigration service to find him. He was living and drawing money in City West. Not hard to find him.
Well, how is he still drawing money if he was supposed to self-deport? Was there some time frame that he missed, or
it's just poorly managed? Somebody dropped the ball somewhere along this line, because obviously he was drawing money.
Right.
Obviously, if the statement means is going in, that means he was drawing money from the state in some way.
So then, who's accountable for the fail? Who missed?
Well, TUSLA, I would say, is one. Department of Justice definitely failed somewhere along the line as well. But they'll pass the buck around it like everything else in Ireland.
So there's not going to be any accountability. Around. So what does that do for people's trust in the legal system of Ireland?
At this stage, people have very, very little trust in the immigration service. Because they can't seem to... Well, we are starting now to deport people, but this whole self-deportation orders are just absolute joke. If you're asked to leave a country, you should be just escorted to the airport and just put on a plane. There you go. Good luck. It shouldn't be a guy getting an order in March. Now it's October. Now look at the headline.
7+ months. That seems excessive.
Yeah, unbelievable.
200+ days. That seems excessive. It seems like in any couple of hours in that entire space, he could have been escorted to a place where he would have been sent upon his merry way.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. But it's not the first time something like this has happened in my past center. As you can see, even here, Miko, this is where I first came across it. If you scroll down, he's a gentleman here, Miko O'Keefe. He was subject to a deportation order since March of this year.
All right. Well, let us read this X post. I'll just rip through the whole thing and then we'll talk about it.
Yes.
So, the African man arrested for raping a 10-year-old Irish... 10? He was fucking 10?
Yes.
Oh, my... Oh. All right. So, Guardian investigating alleged rape of 10-year-old Irish girl by asylum seeker on grounds of Dublin. He wasn't an asylum seeker. He was already administratively separated. Like, he should have been gone.
Yes.
Sources say the girl, who had been in care, was not housed at the hotel, and investigators are working to establish how she ended up there. The suspect arrived in Ireland 6 years ago and failed in his application for international protection in 2024. He has been the subject of a deportation order since March of this year. So sometime in 2024, which means in March was at least 60 days past when we got into 2025, and then it was 7 months beyond that. So he's been there, what, a year longer than he should have? Yeah, and as he said, this man should not have been in Ireland.
No.
The G20 countries are failing in their charge. They're just absolutely failing in their charge.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It seems to be a common occurrence in Ireland. More and more of these headlines are happening out of these centres.
Well, you're having a great replacement. You're getting people that don't want to assimilate into Irish culture like we have people in the United States and especially in California. We have been replaced. 60% of our population has been replaced since 1965.
Yeah, and it's happening more and more across all G7 or G20 countries at this stage.
Oh,
and people are just fed up of it. They're just tired of it.
Well, as well they should be.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the TUSLA angle. So this is concerns over time lag in TUSLA dealing with child welfare referrals. We'll go ahead and scroll down here so you can see the author of the article is Mr. Stephen McDermott. Thank you, Mr. McDermott. We'll read of this here. So we'll start with the headline. Concerns over time lag in TUSLA dealing with child welfare referrals. Child referrals to the agency reached a record high last year. So that's our headline.
100,000, yeah.
That is insane.
Yeah, but you have to remember we have a country of just over nearly 5 million. So when TUSLA get reports, they usually go from minor all the way up to serious assaults.
Right. So any recorded contact with them is the 100,000, right?
Yes, any contact with them. It could be from a child getting a slap in the back of the head by a teacher, all the way up to unfortunate instance like you see in City West.
When I was in kindergarten at a Catholic school, I got the ruler a few times on the knuckles. Like, come on.
Yeah, but but I'm just saying that they're from minor all the way up to serious, but they get 100,000 a year roughly now.
Right, 100,000 reports is, if that's the total amount of reports I can see for a population of 5 million for an entire country, that might be every minor infraction up to a major violation of the law.
Yeah.
So, all right, here we go. Concerns have been raised over the length of time TUSLA has taken to deal with child welfare issues in parts of Dublin this year, based on figures published by the agency.
Yeah, there's been a lot of concerns about TUSLA over the years, all over Ireland. But TUSLA is a very important service that was set up with good intentions, but they just seem very, very, no matter how much money our government seem to pump into these guys, they just cannot seem to get the job done.
Well, it's a bureaucratic pit of money. It's a bureaucratic pit of money. And they will ask for more and more and more money regardless of results. Same thing with the homelessness thing in California. We have probably at this point half the homeless in the United States. We've lost billions of dollars somehow, right? It seems the same thing with these NGOs and these state-run businesses, right? Well, not really businesses, but the thing is that you ask them to solve a problem, but the problem is once they solve the issue, it's not work because they've solved the problem, right? There's like no noblesse oblige by the people who are running the processes. They just want more money and not do the thing.
And if you look at here, as you scroll through the article, the figures show that 58 referrals, or just 2%, are followed up within 5 days. And is
it a staffing issue? Is it a personnel issue? They not have the bodies?
They're saying they don't have the bodies or they don't have the staff. But 2% follow up?
What, do they have 9 people working over there? You got 11 heads? I mean, what do you...
Well, yeah, what's going on? There doesn't seem to be any accountability for the failed. Like, this is not the first time, if you live in Ireland, and a lot of people listening from Ireland, it's not the first time we have had TUSLA dragged over the coals like this.
Right.
But it seems to be every 4 or 5 years where they majorly screw up ever since they were founded. Like, this agency does not seem to have a clue what they're doing. Like, there was a case recently in the news where a young child went missing for 3 years, or TUSLA followed up. It took 3 years when you get their head out there, as they say, back end. To actually follow up.
Back hatch. So if you and I got a job working for TUSLA, you and I could handle 5% of that call volume and at least call somebody back. Right?
So start following up on these reports.
Right. Well, children don't have agency. They don't understand.
They don't.
The consequences of their actions. It's why they need to be taught these things, right? And if they don't have agency, it means they can be taken advantage of. An agency that's supposed to protect children should take much more care of their charge. An entire country is depending on them to do their job correctly. It's why the agency was set up in the first place. Yes,
but TUSLA is just a symptom of a lot of the state agencies. They don't seem to know what they're doing. It seems to be report after report is made of these agencies, from our Department of Justice, TUSLA, the whole 9 yards. And they just do not seem to have a clue. They can't seem to manage what they're supposed to manage.
It's a competency
issue. No matter how much money we pump in.
Why do they have incompetent people? Why can you not review their function and say you have failed in your charge? We're going to put your ass on the street.
You'll find in Ireland quite a lot of the people in charge of a lot of these agencies, managers or middle managers on downwards in the civil service or in these agencies, are all friends of friends who are just put in there because Mary or Jimmy needs a job, pretty much. It doesn't matter if they're qualified for the job. Probably not. I know people who work for the Department of Revenue, you could say, who have an arts degree. And the only reason they have a job, they'll say it openly, is because their parents got them the job. Like that is the civil service in Ireland thumbed up. A lot of these guys are not qualified or able to do the jobs they're put in. Day
Right.
one.
And
Then you end up with situations like this.
right, competent people are in the private market making much more money.
Yes.
Right? Makes sense.
Mm.
All right. It comes after child referrals in TUSLA reached a record high last year, with a figure expected to rise above 100,000 for the first time this year. Child protection referrals see a screening process commenced by a social worker, which determines if a child is at immediate risk of harm. And I would hope if they were at immediate risk, somebody would jump on that horse and get on downtown and figure out what the hell's going on, right?
Yeah, and the TUSLA officers themselves, or the workers themselves, they have broad range of powers at their disposal if they decide to use them, or should be using them. Like they can go to if they go to a person's residence and they refuse entry, they can go up to the local guard. They can phone in and get Gardaí to help them. They have a large range of tools and powers at their disposal.
So they have the assets to perform the function, but they just don't do it?
Yeah, they're just always saying they're understaffed, and every year more and more money is pumped into them, but they still don't seem to get the job done. Like as you say, a bottomless pit of money.
Yeah, it's a bureaucratic pit of money. The bureaucracy class in the G20 countries has become functionally the new nobility because they manage the power. That is, yeah, and then because they manage the power, if they choose not to do the thing they're supposed to do, it's very difficult to hold them accountable. Right?
Oh, it's nearly impossible. Nearly impossible.
All right, data published. Go ahead.
Yeah, even in Ireland, if you have any problem, any bad interaction with any members of the civil service, and say you go to appeal it, 9 times out of 10 they're going to side with their own staff.
Right, they don't have an appropriate independent agency to manage that interaction.
They do, but it's kind of the big boys club, as they say.
Right, Becky's not going to get Jimmy in trouble because that's Becky's buddy. We're not going to do that, right?
So. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Data published on TUSLA's website reveals that the Child and Family Agency received 2,168 in the Dublin South Central area during the first 3 months of the year, but that only 455 of these were the subject of preliminary inquiry. Well, that doesn't make sense. So that's, let's see, so 2,168 over 3 months. So that's 60 business days. If you have 60 business days at 8 hours, that's 8 times 6, that's 480 business hours that people managing the phones. So I don't know, 8 to 10 people could probably handle that phone load and then offset it to those who it needs to go to, right?
Yes.
And
well, you're less than 21% here. I was just doing the math here. It's
well, is there only one person on the phone? Like, what are you doing?
Yes.
Right. If you and I were handled this task, we could meet this out. We'd be like, we need this many bodies.
Yes. And how many hours in the day that we work, and you break it down like any other business.
Yeah. So where's the break? Like, where are they not getting the people to do the function? Right.
Well, they're saying they're having a problem with recruitment or whatever else. They always have an excuse. Every time you go to TUSLA and there's a report on TUSLA, they'll blame it on lack of resources, lack of this, lack of that. They'll always never take accountability for their own failures.
Right. You keep making me do more and more with less and less, but we're not. We're giving you lots of money. Here's lots of euros to get the thing done. And then they just thumb their nose at the public and say, we're just not going to do it. I mean,
as you scroll down, the figures get worse, by the way.
Thanks for the good news.
Yeah.
A TUSLA spokesperson said that cases that are closed or not followed up still receive appropriate screening and assessment within 24 hours in line with child welfare regulations. So it's under 21%. How's that appropriate? That's not appropriate.
They're closed. That's it.
All right. Of the 2,168 cases in Dublin South Central, 1,317, 61% were closed following an initial screening within 24 hours, including 228 cases which required no further action. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the we're aware of a thing and now we can set up a case if there's something in the future. All right.
Yeah, we can take a box and move on with our day.
Right.
Pretty much.
In some instances, cases were closed as they were deemed to involve children who were already in TUSLA's system and were therefore double counted. Okay.
Yeah,
Makes
that can
sense.
happen. That can happen. Administration, yeah.
Right. I make a call in and then I go do a report when I get to TUSLA. All right.
Yeah.
The figures also show that just 58 referrals, or 2% of the number TUSLA received in Dublin South Central, were followed up within 5 working days.
Yes.
What?
2% were followed up in 5 working days.
Which is the standard that they've chosen to adhere to, either as a policy of the institution or by law, right? The Dáil said, you do it in this amount of time.
Because this is TUSLA's own report. The Dáil very rarely step in. Well, the Minister of Children and Family Affairs has called for a report into them again, but the report will find out every report on TUSLA will find.
That's not what I'm saying, but there is some policy within TUSLA, or there is something that has been legally set down to them by the Taoiseach, the Taoiseach, the Minister, whomever, that says that this is the time frame in which this is done because this is our children, and they need this sense of alacrity and function. You must move at this pace to ensure as best we can the safety of our children.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but when I was listening to interviews from our Minister of Children and Family Affairs, surprise, surprise, she's launching another report in our investigation into TUSLA. Again, this report will probably find what every other report about TUSLA will find, that they were at fault in some way, and everyone will just move on with their day, and that's it. No one's head will really roll.
They failed in their charge, and those are children. You don't just slap people on the wrist. We got to put people on their ass outside of the building and say, you failed, you're done.
Yeah, you're fired. Yeah.
If I put your feet to the fire and say your job is dependent upon performance, which it is everywhere else, then the performance will happen. We won't just sit at our desk eating bonbons or whatever your equivalent of chocolate is there in Ireland. So the follow-up figure was even lower in Dublin, Southwest, Kildare, West Wicklow, where TUSLA conducted inquiries into 460 out of 2,439 referrals in the first quarter of 2025. Of those, 14 were completed in 5 days. That's disgusting. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the article.
For you.
Yep. So here's the article for Vadim Davydenko, who died following a fatal stabbing at a TUSLA residential care facility on Wednesday. What the hell?
Yeah. There's another headline recently from our Child Protection Service, one of their centers. This young man, Ukrainian, arrived unaccompanied into.
So it's the author of this is Tom Tuitt, just so we can credit it to the appropriate person. I do not want to forget that. And don't
worry, I'll put all of them into comments down below as well.
Perfect.
And then all the different articles.
I'll read the headline, and then you can put in your two-bob. Teenager charged with murder of Ukrainian Vadim Davydenko, 17, at TUSLA facility. Vadim was stabbed during an incident at about 11 a.m. on Wednesday at a 24-hour facility in an apartment building of Donagmead. All right, there you go.
Yeah. So this was another young man that was put into the care of TUSLA. So they have different residential buildings all over Dublin, all over the country, really. Most of them are run by TUSLA. But there's always headlines coming out of these centres as well. This is probably the more serious of incidents that are coming out of these centres. They're very badly managed as well by TUSLA. And unfortunately, it cost this young man his life. Less than 24 hours in the country, by the way.
3 days.
3 days in the country. But he was in 24 hours, he was going to the 24-hour facility. But 3 days in the country, and this is what happened to him. In the care of TUSLA.
All right. A 17-year-old Somalian boy had been remanded into custody, charged with the murder of Ukrainian youth, Vadim Davydenko, in an emergency TUSLA residential care unit in North Dublin. Okay, so we'll get back to this one, but we're going to go ahead and finish this one up over here. TUSLA, and we'll get back over to that one. All right. The figures were slightly better. The figures were slightly better in Dublin, Southeast Wicklow, where around a third of referrals, 311 out of 1,095, were followed up, including 75 within 5 days. Responding to the figures, Social Democrats TD Aidan Fairley said that the under-resourcing of TUSLA was an issue that could no longer be ignored. We're gonna have to pull up the actuarial, and we're gonna have to pull up the financials on that one for sure.
Yeah,
Because that
they are.
sounds
They're always blaming the under-resourced. They're
right.
always banging that drum. But there's been under-resourced, and then there's closing 14 cases.
Well, you know how
5
many
days.
people there are in the country. You know the percentage of calls you're going to get. You should be able to project forward into the next fiscal year what it is you need as far as staff. Submit that to the government and say, here's what we can do, right? These are the resources we need, right? We need to expand in this way, retract in that way. We don't need so many people in South County Cork. We need more up in County Dublin, right? Like, this shouldn't be difficult. Why is it that you and I could run their entire show and not have an issue with it, but whoever's in there now is just failing at their charge of keeping children safe?
But as I keep saying, it's a symptom of a bigger issue with our government at the moment. The Irish governments that we've had in the past as well. They just seem to stumble from one crisis to another crisis to another crisis and don't seem to manage anything properly.
Right. I see a number down there, and I'm going to have a problem with it, but we'll get there. All right. So Aidan Fairley told the Journal that the agency's workload is continuing to grow and that it's unacceptable to think that referrals are not being seen to in any sort of timely fashion. Except all the numbers are showing something completely different, right?
Yes.
He said that the number of referrals would continue to grow each year unless the government addressed wider societal issues such as employment and education in the areas where children were being referred. What he didn't say there was the important one, which is immigration. You have people who are failing to assimilate into the society, and they don't care. They don't have to, so they're not going to. Now, here's a number I want you to look at. A team of 1,700 social workers. 1,700. 1,700 social workers can't handle 100,000 calls in a year.
Yeah. In a year.
That's dog shit. That's horrible. That's a lot of people getting a lot of government euros not doing their job. It has to be. If you have 1,700 personnel, your hit rate should be 95 to 98%. There should be someone on a phone you have 1,700 people, there should be a person on a phone 24/7 to deal with any call at any time.
If you even break it down maths-wise, you have 1,700 into 100,000. You're roughly, I'm just...
Do a little math for us there, Patrick.
Yeah, 50, 60 per person per year.
Yeah, that seems like a fairly functional caseload, especially if the majority of them are, okay, there was a minor incident or infraction, cool. Yeah. And that takes 30 minutes of your life.
Let's be generous. Let's say 10% are just nothing burgers, as they say long ago.
Right.
People ringing for the sake of ringing. So that brings you down to 90,000. So you're still at 1,700 staff, 90,000 reports. And they only managed to clear 14 in one area in 5 days.
Well, but more than that, it's not just the 1,700 social workers. That's not if it was just 1,700 people in total in the agency, I could see where 100,000 might be rough because you don't have enough of your licensed or assistant clinical social workers. But with 1,700 social workers, that is functionally unforgivable. Functionally, it's unforgivable.
Yeah, they should have a clearance rate of at least what? We'll be generous, say 60%. We'll be generous, 60%. We'll give them a bit of leeway.
Right, but that's not the office techs, the management staff, the people that oversee the function. Those people aren't listed here, and I don't know what the breakdown is of the 1,700 social workers who are involved in that. I'm pretty much assuming that's not just 1,700 at the bottom, right?
No,
it's not.
There's obviously managers, middle managers, administration staff. These are the frontline social workers, 1,700 frontline social workers.
Right, if they're all the frontline.
You'll also have administration staff, support personnel, and so on in the back end as well. In that department.
For sure.
Yeah.
But with 1,700 frontline social workers for 100,000 reported cases, you should be closing down everything within, I don't know, 10 business days-ish at the most.
Okay, there might be a bit of travel involved. We'll say 40 working days. You're very generous.
Well, that's very generous.
Yes, but I'm just saying, if this was a private sector, their heads would definitely roll. Without a shadow of doubt.
Oh, for sure. So let's finish this one up and we'll get back over to Vadim. Go ahead.
Yeah. But as I was saying, with the Ukrainian young man there, it always seems to be these headlines when it involves TUSLA. TUSLA never seems to be in the headlines for any good reason.
Right.
In the last couple of years.
Well,
they're
going to have to be doing affidavits, legal paperwork, preparation to assist the Gardaí and other legal agencies, barristers and counselors and lawyers to prepare cases and stuff. I get that, but all of that shouldn't be taking up so much time that 1,700 personnel can't handle 100,000 calls.
Yeah,
that seems insane.
Let's be honest and say, look, most of the agencies in Ireland at this particular time period seem to be failing all the time. Even look at our Department of Justice. There's a young man there who was told to leave the country in March, and he's still there in October.
Right, and on top of that,
it's not hard to find him. Right, it's not hard to find him.
Right, his asylum seeking failed in 2024.
Yes,
which means that it's probably close to a year that he's been in the country, and he shouldn't be. He was just waiting for them to say, hey, you got to go. And instead of saying, hey, you got to go, they're like, hey, why don't you go ahead and take yourself on out of here whenever there, bud? How about that?
Yeah. He's still been housing. Cool. He's still been housing in a center in City West.
But he shouldn't have been. He should have been
he's still getting resources in City West.
From the taxpayer, yeah, 100%. That's insane.
Yeah, right. It's absolutely crazy.
A team of 1,700 social workers dealt with the referrals, and last year the agency warned that Ireland is not producing an adequate supply of social workers and social care workers through third-level institutions to meet the existing and future requirements for the profession. Just based on the math, it looks like they should. It looks like they should. All right, we'll switch over to Vadim now and go ahead and close it up with this little...
another TUSLA. Yes.
All right, so Vadim, who's age 17, talked about that. He had been placed there alongside other young people separated from their families and seeking international protection. A teenager who had recently graduated high school in Kiev traveled to Ireland and arrived about 3 days before he was fatally injured. And there's a bit of a war going on in Ukraine right now. So there's a lot of young men who are like, I don't want to fight your war. Like, I'm out, because they'll be pressed into military service.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Look, but at the end of the day, we knew what country he came from.
Yeah.
Why not contact the Ukrainian side and say, look, this young man is here. He's from your country. We're putting him on the next plane back. Any chance you get someone to meet him on the other side?
Well, again, they're having a bit of a war right now. They're a little busy. I don't know that they're so worried about.
They're having a war. I understand that, but they still have infrastructure in place. Like, I understand it's a very delicate issue when we come to the Ukrainian migrants into our country. We have over 100,000, probably largest. We actually have the largest per head of capita in Europe. And I understand there's a war going on, but it seems that we accept everyone who arrives at our airport. We just look after them all with kid gloves, everybody. And it's not working out well. It didn't work out well for this young man, unfortunately. But
in the worst possible way, yeah.
Yeah, in the worst possible way. Like, our government has to kind of come to the realization that we're making a complete dog's dinner of this whole immigration issue. We're having headline after headline after headline. When does it stop? When do we start saying enough is enough?
You have to have a moratorium on immigration. You have to stop it.
Yeah.
All over Europe, you have to stop it. Every place in Europe is not the place that it was. It's just not. Right? Your culture is dying.
By the way, these headlines are not unique to Ireland. If you look at any European paper.
Well, but here's the important thing. Ireland is functionally the canary in the coal mine. For a population of 5 million, you have a great replacement going on, and the people who are coming in don't want to assimilate. They don't want to learn Irish. They don't want to really even learn English. They want to take their clannish nature, and they want to vote for things that affect them personally and their clans in the place they're from. They don't care about the Irish society as a whole. They don't care. That's not their concern.
But even if you look at this man who was arrested for this heinous act, he was 6 years in Ireland, and he still needed an interpreter for his case. because he didn't learn English in 6 years. That sums it up as well.
Right. Gardaí and other emergency services responded to a call for assistance at the premises. Despite the effort of paramedics, the boy, who would have turned 18 in November, was pronounced deceased at the scene. The senior investigating officer was appointed to lead the investigation, and an incident room was established at Coolock Garda Station.
Yeah.
Where is that?
Dublin.
Oh, okay.
It's a part of Dublin. Sorry.
How close, how close to Ballymun?
Yeah, I forget you're living in US land. Yes, it's part of Dublin. Yeah.
All right.
It's probably the easiest way to describe it to you.
Well, I don't even know the geography of Dublin, so. Oh, no. I don't know what the hell that was. Oh, these ads are killing me. Just click anywhere on the screen. Get yourself a new ad. All right. The accused had been hospitalized after sustaining non-life-threatening injuries. On Friday, he was arrested, detained, and was later charged with murder in connection with the fatal incident. The accused, who cannot be named because he is a minor with a legal right to anonymity, was brought before Judge Teresa Kelly in Dublin District Court this evening. He's not an Irish citizen. If he's not an Irish citizen, why are we protecting his right? He doesn't have that right.
He's still classified in our law as a minor under the age of 18. So even though it's a blanket, as I say, these are blanket laws to protect young people. They're always put in place. But what will happen with this young man after he serves his sentence will be very telling. Like he's definitely going to get tried as a minor. There's no shadow of a doubt there.
Why?
Well, it depends on what. I said it'll more than likely depend. Yeah, his defense barrister will probably go for him to be charged as a minor. State will probably push for him to be charged as somebody else. But seeing our legal system in Ireland, he probably will be charged as a minor. Because we have a very lax legal system as well. It's the best way to describe that. It's not as strict, as you could say, as some parts of the United States.
Right.
But he would definitely be charged as a minor. Say more than likely he'll probably get manslaughter, maybe murder at a push. He did, 8 to 10 years? Be out in 5 or 6 if he's a good boy in prison. No.
Unacceptable.
No, he should be. He's Somalian citizen, by the way.
Right.
He should be sent straight back to the country he came from the minute he comes out of those prison gates. Without a shadow, though. Should not stop, go. Yeah, in cuffs, put on a plane, and sent right back to where he came from, forever and a day.
Yeah.
That's it.
Detective Sergeant Mark Quill.
I hope that happens, by the way. I hope that does happen in this case.
Well, the thing is we don't know yet until they go through the legal process. He is innocent until proven guilty. But if he in fact has committed this crime, then don't just throw the book at him. Do all the things. Detective Sergeant Mark Quill told the court that the teenager was charged shortly after 3:38 p.m. at Clontarf Garda Station. Barefoot and dressed in black sweater and gray tracksuit bottoms, the teenager sat at the side of the courtroom flanked by 7 Gardaí in helmets and protective gear. He listened to the proceedings with the aid of an interpreter, did not address the court, and mumbled throughout the brief hearing. Okay.
Yeah.
That's more whatever, right?
Yeah.
Detective Sergeant Quill told Judge Kelly that the boy made no reply when charged in the presence of his social worker and an interpreter. The court heard that the teen was handed a copy of the charge, and it was explained to him. Defense solicitor Andrew Walsh confirmed that a TUSLA social worker and court-appointed guardian ad litem had attended the hearing as responsible adults for the boy. The Children Act states that a parent or guardian must attend a juvenile's criminal case.
Yes. So there has to be a guardian in place. We have an awful lot of unaccompanied minors as well turning up in the last couple of years into Ireland.
Right.
That it's just putting more strain on our legal system and our social system.
Right. Mr. Walsh said the teenager should appear in person rather than via video link. Detective Sergeant Quill confirmed that he had checked that there was a place available in the Juvenile Detention Center. Mr. Walsh was granted an order that his client receive urgent psychiatric and medical attention in custody, and that a Somali interpreter be available at his next case hearing. more resources. Got it.
Yeah.
The district court does not have jurisdiction to consider bail in a murder case, which requires an application to be made before the high court. Therefore, the only order the judge could make was to remand him in custody to the Oberstown Children Detection Campus in Dublin. I'm sure that place is crawling with non-citizens. Detective Sergeant Quill confirmed that he had checked that there was a place available in the juvenile detention center hold the teenager.
Yeah. It's absolutely crazy. We're living in a very, very troubling time in Ireland. As we seem to have more and more of these headlines. This whole mass immigration, great Middleton plot experiment does not seem to be working out too well for us.
You mean forced multiculturalism just doesn't seem to be the key to success for Ireland? Having your culture destroyed while you're supporting other people financially who don't want to contribute to your society is somehow causing your society to fall?
Yeah. And the sad thing is, when you see any kind of pushback from the Irish, we're classified as far right or extreme or we're this or we're that or whatever else. And when I look at a lot of these protests, I can see why they say it sometimes. The vast majority of people in those protests are normal working class people who are just sick and tired of this entire
both Ireland and the UK. It's people that
are sick and tired.
And we talked about waving the flag, right? The only time you can't wave your country's flag is when you're occupied. You are occupied. Yep. You are absolutely occupied. All of Britannia is occupied, bro. It's not good. So the boy has yet to indicate a plea and will face his next hearing at the Children's Court on Tuesday. Mr. Walsh asked the teenager would appear in person rather than by a video link. TUSLA, the Child and Family Agency, confirmed the facility was a residential unit that provides 24-hour care and offers services to those seeking international protection. A female staff member who attempted to intervene also sustained a minor injury and was taken to hospital, while other teens and adults fled the scene. Whoa. Other teens and adults fled? What do you mean they fled the scene? You were put there to protect children. And why?
No, they're talking, by the way, before you misinterpret that, they're talking about the residents of that center. Because it's what we've figured out in the meantime is this TUSLA center is also next to another center, which is next to another center, and so on. So you have teens and young adults in one center. Down the road, you have adults in another center. And they're all kind of mixed together.
Right. So you're mixing two people that can't speak English. One who was supposed to have learned it because he's been here 6 years. One who just came from Kiev and speaks Ukrainian, and you have them in the same place. Their societies and their cultures are wildly different.
Like,
what are you doing?
I've met individuals from Somalia and that part of the world over the years. And one or two of them are really nice, but the rest of them, life means very, very little to them. I think people don't quite understand where these people come from. They don't understand that life is not sacred where they come from.
No, it's very, very cheap. It's disposable. Yes. Yeah.
And they go from 0 to 90 in a shot of an eye, as this poor young man found out.
And the last line here, the Embassy of Ukraine in Ireland confirmed it is making necessary arrangements for the repatriation of Vadim Davdyenko's body to Ukraine. A Garda family liaison officer has also been assigned to assist. That is garbage. Yeah. It's, as I say, it's one of many, many headlines we're having all across Ireland. More and more of these headlines are happening, and our government just seem to be standing there saying, oh, everything's okay, everything's grand. These are all isolated incidents. But there seems to be more and more of these incidents happening. Well, the question is, when you see all these, how often are things happening that are not getting reported? Yeah. Why do we have incompetent staff that can't intervene? Why is there a single female staff member getting between two large 17-year-old boys that are trying to kill each other? Why don't you have big burly fellas in there keeping their heads apart or cracking their heads when they fail? Yeah, where's the security or anyone else that should be in these centers? I'd like to see a report on that. Where's the report on that? Why
Yeah,
don't you have the right kind of
don't worry,
people in the
but-
right kind of places?
well, don't worry, they'll have a report on this, and we'll get it in 2 or 3 years' time, wherever it's done.
Oh my
but-
God.
It's the sad thing is all these headlines that we just covered are just a sample of the headlines that's been happening the last year and a half, 2 years in Ireland. We've had women being attacked and killed in Ireland.
Young women getting the worst of the worst, men getting killed.
Yes, we're getting headlines after headlines after headlines, and then the government cannot seem to figure out why more and more people are dissatisfied with the whole whole system they've put in place.
Ireland needs a moratorium on immigration. You need to just stop. You need to just stop.
And you know what the sad part about all this is? We had an election recently enough. And even with all these headlines happening up to this election, people still in Ireland vote in Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil, and Sinn Féin.
And they're not.
They still vote in those three. They still vote in those parties.
They're not cutting the mustard. They're failing the constituency. They're failing the people.
Well, fair enough to Sinn Féin. They have never been in government in Ireland for a long time. Not since the formation of a republic. They haven't been in overall majority in our government.
Oh, so in power.
But Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil have been in power for a good part of our republic. And these are the systems that Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil put into place. They put these agencies in place. They put all this in place. And it just seems to be failing all the way through. And people still vote for them every single election.
Right. If the agency did what it was purported to do, it'd be fine. I don't have an issue with helping people. Like, that's not an issue. But the thing is you need a moratorium on immigration. You need people to stop coming to Ireland. You need to preserve your culture. Like, it's it's getting destroyed.
As I said, it's not that hard. We're an island.
Pretty much.
You know, we have borders. It's not hard for us, surely, to police these borders.
Well,
and unfortunately, no matter how many of these serious incidents happen, the government still carry on like business as usual.
Yeah, there's no sense of emergency. There was no emergent cause here for them. So
no, and more of these things are going to be happening if people don't just, but as Derek Domino says, stand up and be counted in some way,
right?
Or do something,
right?
Or even just, as I say, even if protesting is not your thing or whatever it is, just turn around and write to your local TD, say, I'm not happy with this, or do something, anything.
Right. Anything would be good.
Right.
Anything would be better. So.
Yes.
All right.
So on that note, we got to start.
Right.
Yeah.
I was about to start it off. You caught me. For Patrick McCallum, I am Alex Johansson. We welcome some interaction and some comments. Tell us what you think. Let us know. Really, what's going on?
Especially of this new format. I know we're a bit. It says we're trying something new.
Yeah, well, I think it's a good format, and I think we can.
Yeah, and we will get better at it. We will get better at it.
Well, we'll dig into these concepts and we'll get things worked out. So, ring the bell, do the things. Hopefully, you'll see us on Spotify soon. And to our YouTube audience, thank you so much for being here. For the Rumble Kids, we're trying to do the best we can. We'll get there eventually. Keep the faith. Keep the faith. All right, help us beat the algorithm for the A&P gents. And we are out.